Welcome back to my channel. I'm Jamila Medley. I'm a mom of three, a pelvic floor therapist, a pastor's wife, and on this page I just share pieces of my life, a little bit of education, sprinkles of the things that I do in my day-to-day, how we do things with our kiddos, ministry, pelvic floor, all the things. And today we're going to take a deep dive into all the things that I did to prepare for my third unmedicated delivery. Our first two were born in a birth center in Dallas when we lived in Dallas, Texas. With one of my favorite midwives, we had the same midwife for both of our first kiddos, which we are so grateful for. And then we moved to New Jersey a few years later, and then our third was born at home peacefully. You can read all about my birth stories, all three of them, in my blog. I'll link it in the description. And maybe in the future, I'll go through and do a video talking a little bit more about my birth stories. I don't know. Read them. Let me know what you think. I would be happy to make videos about my births. But for today's video, we're going to talk specifically about the things that I did to prepare for all three of these unmedicated deliveries, and more specifically, my third unmedicated birth. Because the third one was, number one, the quickest. Number two, I felt the most supported. I felt the most in control. And I also felt the most confident. And lastly, I had the smoothest postpartum recovery. And I think that it really was because all of the things that I did during my pregnancy to prepare for labor and delivery, postpartum, and beyond. Now, at 5 months postpartum, I feel so much stronger, so much more confident, capable, able to do things that I want to do, and that I need to do with three kiddos now in the day-to-day. First things first, you guys always know I'm going to be educating you and encouraging you to go to pelvic floor therapy. Very, very important. This is the number one thing that I do every single time I am pregnant. I start working on my pelvic floor and core exercises. I always start with diaphragmatic breathing. That's the number one place that I start connecting to my pelvic floor and my core. And I usually will start this literally as soon as I find out that I am pregnant, because I've been pregnant kind of like back to back to back. I never actually stopped doing diaphragmatic breathing for the pelvic floor and the core because it's so good. I'm just much more intentional about it when I find out that I am pregnant. First trimester is always extremely challenging for me. So what I did all three first trimesters, but more specifically the third, was making sure I was getting some sort of daily movement and walking every single day. This was, honestly, I was forced into that because I had two toddlers when I was pregnant with our third. So it just, honestly, I didn't have an option. But when I was forced to be moving around and doing things with my toddlers, I was very intentional about diaphragmatic breathing. Lots of walks with the kiddos, literally any chance that they wanted to go outside. I was like, all right, let's just do this. Being outside in vitamin D. Okay. I think this is so underrated, but I think that it is extremely impactful and important, is to be intentional about being out in nature. Depending on what time of year you're pregnant, I've been pregnant different times of the year. The third time I was pregnant mostly throughout the spring and the summer, but I was in first trimester in the winter. And even just getting out in that vitamin D helped tremendously. So not only does it help your body, prepping for labor and delivery, we want to be moving and having good movement and motion in our body, preparing our body for that physical task of labor, but also your mental health. Labor and birth is 80% mental and 20% physical. And so I decided the third time around to really start planning and prepping for that mental component. As I went through my pregnancy, I started to adjust, progress, modify, change my pelvic floor and core workouts to be more specific to my needs. So for example, I started having a little bit of SPD pain at the end of second trimester into third trimester. And so I just started adding in appropriate resistance and changing up the workouts. And I was intentional about making sure I was doing my pelvic floor and core workouts every day. Was I doing an hour workout every day? Absolutely not. Some days it literally just looked like some stretches, doing my diaphragmatic breathing, sitting on the yoga ball, making sure I was opening up the pelvis, making sure that I was also keeping baby or trying to make sure that baby was getting in a good position. This is one thing I had to be really intentional about this third time around because both of my first two babies were posterior until literally like a second before they came out. And if you know, back labor is extremely challenging. Honestly, it is more uncomfortable than actual like regular labor because of baby's position. So I really, knowing that I wanted to have a home birth and I just wanted it to be a lot smoother. I did not want to have the back labor. I was so intentional from day one, finding out I was pregnant, about trying to get this baby in the most optimal position. So I did that by sitting on the yoga ball earlier into my pregnancy. I feel like a lot of moms wait until they're in third trimester to start sitting on the ball, but I decided to start in first trimester this time and progress throughout second and third trimester. Swapping the couch or a hard surface out for the ball, working, I would take all my work calls on the ball, and I think it really helped. Next up, pregnancy compression support. External support can help you to lift up your baby, to lift up your belly, to prevent and improve pelvic related pain, discomfort, all of that stuff. I barely had any pelvic pain during that pregnancy. Yes, I felt heavy. My belly, my babies always carry out in front and low and right down into my pelvis, but I truly believe wearing the pregnancy support and compression helped me so much. I have all of my favorites, the ones that I highly recommend. I have them linked in the description. I also have those pelvic floor exercises from my birth body prenatal course linked in the description as well. But wearing that pregnancy support every single day, and then the combination of wearing that pregnancy support in my day-to-day, but also wearing it while doing my pelvic floor exercises was so helpful too, especially the bigger and the farther along that I got. On the other physical side, and then we'll get into the mental side of prepping for labor and delivery, I did see a chiropractor. I saw a chiropractor almost every other week to monthly in the first trimester. And then second trimester, I saw my chiropractor 2 times a month, if not every other week, bi-weekly. And then third trimester, I try to see my chiropractor once a week, if not more. I know that's not necessarily reasonable for everyone. This is just what I did the third time around. That helps me tremendously, in my opinion, to have the unmedicated birth that I did and to heal appropriately postpartum. So I saw my chiropractor a lot during this third pregnancy, especially toward the end, in combination with those pelvic floor exercises, wearing appropriate support, daily movement, and I truly felt the difference in my day-to-day. I actually saw the chiropractor the day before my due date, and I knew okay, we're getting close, and the adjustment that I got that day, I truly think it worked wonders. But that preparation during my pregnancy, I think, helped to also optimize baby's position to try to prevent him from being in that OP position. Additionally, I decided to take a birth course, 2 birth courses actually, that aligned with my birth goals. So they were geared toward natural unmedicated deliveries, supernatural childbirth, Christian hypnobirthing. All of those things were included in these 2 courses. So the number 1 course that I did was the Christian hypnobirthing course. I have a link with a discount code in the description for you. For me personally, the Christian hypnobirthing helped me a lot with the mental aspect. And so I started going through the Christian hypnobirthing course and listening to the app in the second trimester. So I would say that's the bulk of the physical. On the mental side, the Christian hypnobirthing course, I also did a working mama, one of my great friends, Chanel. She has a great natural birth, childbirth education course that I took for my second and my third birth. And I think it's great education and want to understand the process of birth, labor, partner support, all of that. And I also think understanding that helps with the mental aspect. Additionally, when it comes to the mental preparation side, I really decided to lock in when it came to my time with God. And I was already spending daily time with the Lord, but I really locked in on, okay, God, I want to be the most connected with you. I want to be the most connected with my body. I want to do this process the way that you desire for me to, and I want to fully be able to surrender to you. So I decided this time around that I was going to continue reading the Word, but also be intentional with reading additional books about surrendering, about childbirth and supernatural childbirth. I have some of those books linked in my Amazon. But I just really decided to start being extremely intentional about my time with the Lord. And I feel like the Lord really started moving and shaking a lot of things in my life and helping me to work through challenges or trauma or things that I really had never worked on in order to be able to get to the point to not only have a successful unmedicated delivery of surrendering, but also to be prepared for being a mom of 3 and that transition in that season. Lots and lots of books. I read so much This is the most I've probably read since becoming a mom, was during that pregnancy and also this postpartum. And we can talk more about that too if you're ever interested. Let me know in the comments. Additionally, let's talk about supplements. So supplements aren't necessarily physical or mental. Supplements really can support your physical and mental during pregnancy. And I think that a lot of the supplements helped me prepare for this unmedicated delivery. Not only was I taking my prenatal vitamin, which I still take in postpartum, but I also was taking beef liver. I was taking iron at one point. I took a probiotic. I was taking additional herbs and supplements that were going to support my mental health and my physical health during pregnancy. I also do like a labor tincture leading up to labor and delivery, which I usually start the end of the 3rd trimester. I follow all the instructions on the back of the bottle. And I have all of these linked for you in my Amazon, so make sure you check out the description box. In addition to those supplements, I also did other supplements like herbal teas that are geared toward helping you and your uterus prepare for labor and delivery. Utilizing the supplements and additional supports to help nourish my body in preparation for labor, I think was very helpful for myself, my body, and for my baby. I also like to do evening primrose oil at the end of pregnancy for the last like 3 weeks, usually starting around like 37 and 1. That's something that I've done all 3 pregnancies, and I do think that has helped me in combination with the labor tinctures, the teas, all the things. At the very end of my pregnancy, especially those last 3 weeks, I started integrating curb walks a lot, especially like once I got closer to my due date, really trying to get him down into my pelvis, and really just wanted to make sure I could get him into the most optimal position. Another one is the mile circuit. It's one of my absolute favorites. I've done it for all 3 births, but I was really intentional about it the 3rd birth, and I actually did like the full mile circuit all the way through several days in a row, and I really think it helped me at the end. Lo and behold, I ended up having this beautiful unmedicated delivery on the toilet in literally like under 3 hours. It was just like honestly so amazing, super natural at its finest. Like I just felt the Holy Spirit in that room with me. I just felt like the whole entire birth was just so peaceful and beautiful. Not to say that my other ones weren't, but there definitely was a lot more like actual work I had to do for hours and hours. And again, everybody's pregnancy and birth experience is different, but this was just mine. And I really think it's because he was in such a great position. My body was prepared, my mind was prepared, and my body, I felt ready, and he was ready. So I think there was just a perfect combination of all the things. If I was to do it all again, I would take these exact steps. I honestly don't even think that there's anything that I would say that I would not do or that I wish that I had done, because I feel like I did everything my 3rd pregnancy, and I was really grateful that I did. I also did get some body work done during the pregnancy and feel like that helped, especially toward the end. And I spent a lot of time outside in the sun. I mean, granted, it was the end of the summer. I was pregnant all summer, so that was great. It's just been a lot of time doing things that I loved and in like my favorite places. The beach all summer. It was just honestly perfect. So these are just the ways that I help my body prepare for labor and delivery this last time around. Again, I definitely think it really contributed to my postpartum. If you have any questions, make sure you put them in the comment section. I'm happy to make additional videos on all the things that I talked about. I put every single thing that I talked about and did in the description of this video. Make sure you like, comment, share, and subscribe. There are moms out there who really need this information and need to know that like it's possible to have a safe, successful, unmedicated delivery at home or at the birth center or whatever you desire, but to ultimately feel your best during pregnancy and into postpartum. Thanks for watching. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, like, and save this video. Lord, I feel